All right. Hello, everyone. How is everybody today? Happy Thursday. Hope your day is wonderful today. Hope you are having a great day. Hope you are having some fun and maybe doing some nails today. We are going to be doing some really fun nails today. We're going to be creating some little bit longer nails. Going to zoom in a little closer there for you guys. Yeah, I'm going to call these stiletto nails. I would say maybe a shorter stiletto, but a stiletto. So we're going to be creating some fun ombre looks today. We are actually going to create a candy corn. I almost forgot what it was called. A candy corn look for you guys today. Somebody, I think maybe it was a couple weeks back, somebody asked for a candy corn design. And I was thinking, you know what, that's going to be kind of a fun idea for today. So that's what we're going to be working on. I am just getting a few nails prepped and ready to go here. Usually when I work with my trainer hand, I like to cut off that little cuticle area from the back edge, just because for me, it feels a lot more like an actual nail, an actual cuticle area without having that big kind of ridge around the back. So if you prefer, you can trim off that back edge just like I'm doing and kind of smooth out that edge and make it just a little bit more. I'm not going to say realistic, you guys, because let's be honest, this is a trainer hand. This is not a real hand, but I think it just helps to make it feel a little bit more realistic. So I am going to just quick pull up my chat, see what you guys are chatting about, see what is going on with everybody today. And looks like we are good to go here. All right. So welcome in, everybody. You guys, thank you so much for joining us today. Welcome, welcome. Great to see all the familiar names in the chat here. And let's go ahead and, oh, sorry guys, hang on one second. My chat okay, there we go. We're back on track here. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. I was just showing everybody that we are gonna be doing kind of a candy corn look today. Maybe we'll throw in a little bit of spider webs if we have a little extra time at the end. But I'm just going to start by shortening up my nails. And when I'm sculpting, whether I am doing acrylic or hard gel, either way, if I am sculpting, I always like to shorten up those nails. So this way, when I do put my forms on, my natural nail isn't going to interfere with that form fit. So let me just readjust you guys here just a little bit. Make sure you guys have a really good view. All right, I think we're good there. And we'll just go through, give the nails a quick shape up. When you are shaping the nails before you put your forms on, don't spend a ton of time on it. Don't worry about if that shaping is perfect because you're going to be sculpting. So you don't have to worry if the shape of that natural nail is perfect. Just kind of smooth it out all the way around the edge. Somebody's asking, how did you clip the cuticle area off? You know what? Let me just show you really quick here, just so you have a little better idea. So with our trainer hands, and you guys, the trainer hand that I'm using, this is our Young Nails trainer hand. So anything that I'm showing you here today can be found on our website, youngnails.com. So just using our toenail clippers and just gonna go through, clip off that little cuticle area. Now you guys, obviously this is only something that you're gonna be doing when you're working on the trainer hand. This isn't something that you would be doing on an actual real person. Obviously, you're not taking their fingernail off and clipping it. But if you're working on the trainer hand, I just like to go through and trim off that little bit of extra cuticle so that nail is going to sit a little bit more flush down into that cuticle area. So again, it feels a little bit more realistic when you're practicing. Personal preference, do you have to do that? No. Do I like to? Yes, I feel like it's just a little bit easier. Okay, just shaping up our nails here a little bit, and then we'll go through our prep really quick. And when you're doing your prep, you only should be really spending, I would say, about 3 to 5 minutes on prep. You're not going to spend a ton of time. So your prep, I'm going to break this down really fast and easy for you guys. First thing you're going to do after you shorten and shape those nails, let me readjust, there we go. You're going to go through, we're going to use our magic wand today, and I'm going to just gently push back those cuticles. Again, not spending a ton of time on them. I think this is one of those steps that people tend to spend way too much time on. If I were prepping my own nails here, again, I would still just do a quick push back. I'm not spending a lot of time on a lot of effort. I don't have to get that cuticle area perfect with my cuticle pusher. I am going to go back through with my electric file and I'm going to clean up that cuticle area. So all I'm really doing at this point is just gently pushing that cuticle really just kind of out of the way. And then that's going to show any of that excess cuticle that may still be stuck down onto the nail. That's what we're going to go through and we're going to clean up with our electric file. Somebody says, whenever I do prep, it takes so long. How do you only take 3 minutes? Ginger, this is exactly what I'm saying. Just going through, quickly prepping that cuticle area or pushing back that cuticle area, just like this, all the way through. Just gently pushing back those cuticles. And after that, then we're going to come in with our electric file. Now I've got my arbor band, or my Mandrel. I'm going to remove my arbor band. So I've got my Mandrel on my electric file. I'm going to grab a clean, fresh, brand new one, and I'm going to put that one onto my, you guys, my words are hard today for me. We're going to put that sanding band onto our Mandrel, and we're going to go through. I'm going to turn my electric file to about 5,000 RPMs, and all I'm going to do to prep my nails is work right up around my cuticle area, short little strokes all the way around the cuticle, and then I'm going to feather my bit all the way through the rest of that natural nail. And you guys, this is all you really need to be doing for your prep. If you're spending more time than this, if you are, maybe you get through that nail and you're like, oh, well, that was too fast. Now I need to do it again because I don't think I did it right. You did it right, okay? Just make sure as long as you're getting right up into that cuticle area, cleaning up that cuticle, feathering that bit through, removing the shine, breaking up the surface oils on that nail, creating a little bit of texture. That's all you need to do. Now, let me show you one other quick thing. If you are concerned about the cuticles and maybe you have a little bit of extra cuticle, maybe your client has a little bit of dry skin or extra cuticle, a lot of times I'll switch over to my diamond, not carbide, my diamond cuticle bit, and this is our diamond cuticle square. This one I also like to use for working right up around that cuticle. So if you do have some extra cuticle, some really tough cuticle, you can use that bit. But most of the time, your sanding band is going to do that prep for you. Somebody's asking, what grit is that? The sanding band that I'm using, this is a medium grit. This is about a 150 grit. So it's about the same thing as our 150 grit file. And then the diamond bit is also a medium, and that's about the same grit as well, okay? So really quick and easy to do your prep. That's all that you have to do, okay? I know a lot of times people want to go through and they want to cut the cuticles, they want to do all their trimming and all of that kind of stuff. You guys, I save all of that kind of stuff for the end. If I do need to do any trimming of my cuticles, I will save that for the end. Because, you guys, let me show you here. I have a little cuticle here. I'm a picker. I will admit it. I'm a cuticle picker. And sometimes I will pick at my cuticles. Now, if I were to go through and, let me grab my nipper here really quick. If I were to go through and I were to nip all the way around that cuticle and cut up all of that cuticle, what's going to happen is when I do my nails, if I file and I accidentally bump that cuticle, because I've already nipped that cuticle is going to be a little bit more sensitive. So that could be a little bit more prone to bleeding if I accidentally bump that. So that's one of the reasons that I don't like to cut the cuticles. I don't feel the need to cut the cuticles. You only want to cut maybe anything that's really flapping back and forth. You don't need to cut all the way around that whole entire cuticle. Okay. The other reason that I don't like to cut all the way through that cuticle is because if you do, and then you apply your acrylic or your gel or anything, and any product gets onto that open cuticle, that can actually lead a little bit more to contact dermatitis or allergic reactions because you've cut open that skin and made that a little bit more open for product to absorb into your skin. So those are some reasons that I generally don't like to cut the cuticle. I don't think it's necessary. And if you overcut the cuticle, then you're just basically going to lead to thicker cuticles in the long run, and they grow back a little bit thicker. But that's another lesson for another time. Let's get back to our prep here. So I went through, dusted off the nails. I'm going to grab my swipe, and swipe is our cleanser. So I'm going to pump a little bit of swipe onto our manicure brush, and we're going to go through and we're just going to give those nails a really good scrub. Now, what swipe is going to do, it's going to help to remove any of those last little teeny tiny dust particles that are on the nail. And this is also going to help to remove any surface oils or germs or bacteria. Okay, so just going to give us a really nice, clean, dry nail. And you guys, that's all we need to do for prep. So if you are taking more than 3 to 5 minutes to do all of this, you might need to reassess and take a look and see what it is that you're doing. Okay. But you guys, we do have a ton of great videos here on our YouTube channel. If you need more information on prepping, if you need a little bit more in detail, definitely check out our channel here. Make sure to subscribe. We have over 3,000 videos for you guys of free education. So take advantage of that and check out those videos. So last thing we're going to do with our prep is apply our protein bond. And protein bond is going to work like a double-sided tape. So this is going to stick down to that natural nail, but it's going to leave us a nice sticky surface for our acrylic to adhere to. And today, like I said, we're going to be working with acrylic. And if you're working with acrylic or hard gel, I always do 2 coats of protein bond. I feel like 2 coats is what's going to really give us great adhesion with our enhancement products. If you're working with just a regular gel polish, you would do, I would say just do 1 coat of protein bond. That's all you would need for a regular gel manicure. But going through, doing my 2nd coat of our protein bond, and I start about halfway up the nail, and then I work out to the sides and then back to the cuticle area. And this helps me to keep my protein bond from flooding into that cuticle or into the sidewalls so that I don't expose that skin to my product. All right. So we've got our protein bond on there. Oops, you guys, I apologize. My phone was ringing there. I'm so sorry about that. Okay, so we've got our nails all prepped and ready to go. Let's grab our forms. Somebody's asking, Karen, I see a lot of people online mix protein bond with other primers. Does that actually help with adhesion? That's a great question, and I'm going to tell you, with young nails, we do not test our products in combination with other brands. So I can't confirm or deny if anything else will help or will work better. What I can tell you is I don't recommend mixing things that have not been tested. So I recommend just using protein bond. If you have another primer, honestly, I don't feel the need for that. If you are working with a system, stick with the system, okay? So I hope that helps. All right, you guys, we are going to be working with our XL forms today. We're going to be creating a little bit of a longer nail today. So I'm going to grab my XL form here. I'm going to take that little center tab out of the middle. And you guys, I always call this our little dancing ghost. We're going to take our little dancing ghost. We're going to set that right on the back of our form. And then we're going to pinch our forms together right at the end. So these 2 little tabs at the ends, I'm not pinching this 3rd one yet. I'm just pinching these 2 at the end. So we're going to pinch those 2 together nice and evenly. And, whoops, see you guys, this is what happens. I pinched that last one together and I didn't want to do that. So bring that open again. Okay, we're going to pinch the end and we're going to be creating a stiletto nail. Now, we're not going to be doing a crazy long stiletto like this. We're going to be doing maybe a half a stiletto. Or not a half a stiletto, but we're going to be doing a shorter stiletto. So I'm actually going to pinch my form a little bit shorter, and I think maybe down to about 6 or 7, maybe the 6 or 7. And I think that's going to be about the right length for me. So we're going to open up that perforation there. We're going to bring our form right up underneath the nail. Now you guys, I'm going to show you this from the side view. Okay, so we're going to start from at a slight downward angle. We're going to catch that form right up underneath that free edge. So just kind of popping that right up under the free edge. And then I'm going to lift up on the end, and that's going to rock my form right up, flush up underneath that natural nail. And then we're going to secure that right down underneath. Okay, now I want you guys to see something here. Do you see how the light is reflecting right through here? that is going to be our guideline. Now I know our form does have those lines across and down the nail, but this is going to be the guide that I'm going to be looking at right here. So that's going to be the shape that we're creating, okay? All right, so we've got our form on there. I'm just going to straighten that out, make sure that's nice and straight. And I am going to snip off the end of that form. Because we're not going to be using that extra form, I don't need that extra length on there. So I'm just going to snip that off the form, get that out of my way. And I think, again, I need to straighten this out just a little bit more. All right, I think we're good there. Now I'm going to grab my table towels, and I just have a few table towels that I've cut into smaller pieces here. Just makes it a little bit easier for me to work. And I'm going to grab my Dappen dish, and I'm going to grab my monomer, and let me take a look in my Dappen dish. So in my Dappen dish, I do have a little bit of leftover monomer from my last application. I'm going to take one of my table towels, and I'm actually going to soak that up. I don't want to be using that old monomer or monomer that I've already used. I want to make sure that I'm starting with nice and clean monomer. That way my acrylic is going to pick up nice and easily, and I'm going to pick up good pearls every time. Okay. Somebody's asking, what are we doing? I just got here. We are just starting our acrylic application. So you got good timing, Anne. Great that you're joining us now. So I'm going to just pour out my monomer, and I'm going to grab my acrylic brush. Now when I pour my monomer, let me show you guys this trick really quick. I like to touch my brush to the top of my bottle, and then I'll just slowly pour that liquid down my brush, and that's going to go right into my Dappen dish without spilling down my bottle and creating a mess. So you can see nice and clean, no dribbling, nice and clean, and yes. All right, so we are ready to go. Let me grab my acrylic. So the powder that we're working with today is going to be our Cover Pink. And you can see it's just a nice neutral kind of a pink color. I love this one for, honestly, if I'm just doing like a nude nail, or it's really a good base color for any of your nail art. So Cover Pink, great color to use. Okay, so we are going to, let me make sure you guys can see what I'm doing here. All right, so we're going to take our liquid. I'm going to dab my brush into my liquid. I'm going to press out the back side of my brush. I'm going to set that down into my acrylic. So again, I'm going to dab out the back side of my brush. I'm actually going to turn my brush over now to use the front side of my brush. I'm going to press and pull, and then bounce, bounce, bounce. That's how I'm going to pick up my pearl. Now, if you guys take a notice, on my first pearl here, I want to make sure that I have really good control of my pearl. So I'm going to show you something really quick, just so you guys have a little bit better idea. When I set my pearl down onto my form, so onto my free edge here that I'm going to build out, I want to make sure that my pearl is not going to run, it's not going to flow, it's not going to move out of control. And if I just take that pearl and just set that right down onto my form, do you see how immediately that product starts to run and move and flow? Okay. If I have to come in here and I have to do a lot of work, oh, you guys, do you see how that stuck to my brush? As I was kind of working there, it stuck to my brush. If you don't clean that out of your brush right away, that is going to start to gunk up your brush. So if that happens, make sure to wipe that out of your brush. I'm actually going to even rinse my brush really well to make sure that that clog doesn't stay in your brush, okay? So to avoid that, what we want to do, we want to bring our product more to a clay-like form. Do you see how now at this point, it's not running, it's not flowing out of control? What we want to do to get to that point right away, I'm going to tap down my powder here so I've got a nice clean space to pick up my pearl. I'm going to tap out the back side of my brush, turn my brush over. I'm going to press, bounce, bounce, bounce. I'm going to let that powder absorb into my pearl, and then I'm going to drain that pearl on my towel. I'm just going to give it maybe a count of 4. And what's going to happen is you're going to see that it's going to go from, I want you guys to see this really close. It's going to go from more of that shiny pearl or almost even an orange peel texture. You can see that there. And then if we drain that out, it's going to look more of a matte finish. And that's exactly what we want. So now you can see it's a little bit more matte. When we bring it to that matte finish, it's going to be more in kind of a clay-like form. So when we press that product down, you can see it's not going to run. Now we have a lot more control of our product. It's not going to run out of control. It's not going to flow where we don't want it to. And most of all, it's not sticking to my brush. Okay, with that first pearl and it was sticking to my brush, I really had to clean out my brush to make sure my brush wasn't going to get clogged up. That's exactly what we want to happen, is we want to bring our pearl to more of that clay-like form so that we don't clog up our brush, and we're going to have a really good consistency to work with. So let's go ahead and grab our pearl here. We'll set this onto our nail. Press, bounce, bounce, bounce. I'm going to allow that pearl to absorb all the liquid. I'm going to set it down, count 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to be a little bit more matte looking. I'm going to set that right in front of my free edge, give it a good press down, wipe out my brush. I'm going to use the fat kind of belly part of my brush to press that out from side to side, and then the edge of my brush to tuck in on the edges. Okay, tuck in on the edge. I'm going to walk my brush all the way across, pressing everything nice and even from side to side. Tuck in on the edge and up into the corner. Tuck in on the edge and up into the corner. Tuck in. Now I'm going to start to blend my product down the length of the nail. Do you guys see how, I don't know if you saw that or not, there was one little bristle of my brush that was kind of sticking to the acrylic. If you ever find that your brush is sticking to your acrylic, wipe out your brush. Make sure that it's nice and clean, okay? I'm going to just start to gently bring that product down the length of the nail, tapering that down right to our little point down here, okay? Again, I'm using the edge of my brush to straighten out my sides, keep those nice and straight all along that edge down there, bringing that down to a point, right down to our 6 or 7. I know you guys, I know you like that 6, 7. I know what you're talking about. All right, so again, just tucking that in to our nice tight point, okay? Now, at this point, we're gonna overlay this whole entire, sorry you guys, there was a little fuzz right here. So now we're gonna just overlay this whole entire length of our nail. So for that, we don't want this one so our next pearl, we don't want this one to be as clay-like as our first one. On this one, we actually do want the product to run. So this one, I'm going to pick up my pearl. I'm just going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's going to bring my pearl a little bit more to that pearl look. It's not going to be that textured look, and that's what we're going to want for our cuticle area. Okay, so when I set my pearl down on my cuticle area, notice that I am angling the finger straight down. I'm going to use the point of my brush to be able to press around that cuticle area. Okay, so again, we're going to tap our brush down into our monomer, press out the back side. I'm going to press, bounce, bounce, bounce. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That pearl is going to look more like a pearl. I'm going to set that at my cuticle area. I'm going to use the point of my brush to press around that cuticle area, angling that finger straight down, and you're going to start to see my product flow down the length of the nail. Okay, just tucking in around those edges. Now I'm going to pivot my brush on the side, and I'm going to just gently blend out my side. Same thing, pivot my brush on the other side, blend out that side, and then I'm just going to gently blend out the edge of that pearl. I'm not pulling all the way from that back cuticle area. I'm just blending out that edge. And what this is going to do, I'm creating a nice thin and tapered cuticle area, and I'm leaving a little bit of thickness right through my stress area. So this is going to give my nail a little bit more strength and durability. Okay, by blending out just that little bit, that's going to create a little bit of that arch. Now we do have a little low spot right in here that we're going to fill in. So I'm going to pick up another pearl, tap the back side of my brush again. I'm going to press, bounce, bounce. This one I'm just going to drain a little bit of the liquid, not completely draining that. I'm going to turn my brush around. I'm going to set that pearl into that low spot, pivot my brush on the sides, blend that product back up into that arch. Pivot my brush on the side, blend back to the arch. Clean out my brush. Now I'm going to press out that pearl and bring that all the way down to the end of the nail. If I need to, I can brush through to bring that product down the length of the nail. If I feel like I need to bring more product back up into that arch, I can wipe out my brush and I can brush backwards. And that's going to blend that product, thin and taper it right from the cuticle area and bring a little bit more of that thickness back towards that stress area. So that's going to give our nail that proper structure. Again, nice thin and tapered cuticle area, a little bit thicker through our stress area, and nice and thin and tapered through our free edge. Okay, you guys, let me show you this one more time. I'm going to take one of our forms. Again, we're going to take that little dancing ghost out of the back, set that onto our form. We're going to pinch our forms together right at those two little tabs. Pinch my form a little bit farther back, again to our 6-7. And then we're going to get that right up underneath that natural nail, rock that up, secure that down on the sides. Okay, I'm going to cut my little excess off the end, and we'll go ahead and pick up another pearl. I'm going to just take off that top table towel there so I've got a nice clean place to wipe my brush. Always make sure that you've got a nice clean place that you're wiping your brush on. Okay, and somebody asked what brush this is. This is Greg's Signature Series brush, and this is a size 12. Okay? And somebody else also said that this nail is too thick. You guys, I know it looks thick on camera, but we do need to do a little bit of filing and customizing on that. So don't worry, they will be nice and thin and tapered once we do the filing and finishing. Okay, so again, we're going to pick up our pearl. We're going to press, bounce, bounce, bounce. I'm going to take that pearl, allow that to absorb the liquid, drain out my excess, count 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to set that pearl right in front of that natural nail, clean out my brush, use the belly of my brush to press that product out from side to side, use the edge of my brush to tuck in and press that back into the corner. Tuck in. Now I'm going to walk all the way across, and I'm kind of pulling that product down the length a little bit too. Tuck in on the sides, walk that bulk up into the corner. Tuck in on the sides, walk that bulk up into the corner. I'm going to come back to that center, wipe out my brush quick, tucking in on the sides, and then gently pulling and pressing that product down to the length that I'm trying to create. Okay? Again, we're creating a stiletto. I'm going to pinch this just a little bit shorter. We're creating a little bit more of a stiletto look today. So I do want to make sure that I am tapering in that end, bringing that product all the way down to a point, tucking that in at the end, creating that nice tight point. Now you guys, you could be doing a coffin shaped nail and that would work great here as well. You can see right there, if I tuck in, it would be more of a coffin shape. But to create more of that stiletto, I'm just angling my brush a little bit more, tucking in on those sides to create that tight stiletto point. Okay, now at this time, we're going to go back to our monomer, grab a little bit more of that liquid, tap out the back side, press and pull, bounce, bounce, bounce. This one we're just going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to set that onto my nail, press that down, press out my cuticle, press, press, pivot my brush on the side, press, press, pivot my brush on the side. My finger is angled downward, so my product is going to flow down the length of the nail. I'm going to pivot my brush on the side again and blend out that edge. Clean out my brush, same thing on this side. Pivot my brush and blend that edge. Blend out that edge of that pearl, bringing that right down the length of our nail. Okay. Now again, you guys, I know there was some questions about why is the nail so thick? And yes, we do need to do a little bit of filing, but you also need to make sure that when you are building longer nails like this, that you do create a little bit more structure in your stress area. You do need to have a little bit of thickness right there to support that extra length so that it doesn't break. Okay. We're going to clean out our brush. I'm going to grab a little more liquid. We're going to press and pull, bounce, bounce. This one, I'm just going to dab out a little bit of that extra liquid. I'm going to turn my brush around, set that down right in that low spot, blend back. Guys, there's a little bit of a little piece of glitter on there. Let's get that out of there. And we'll go ahead and pivot my brush and blend back. Come back around. I'm going to press out the rest of that product, pressing that down towards my free edge. Pressing that, and then I'm just going to gently blend all the way to the end. Again, if you need to pull more product back towards your stress area, you can turn your brush around, pull back, pull back, pull back. And that's going to help to blend that product back up into your stress area. If you needed more product at your free edge, pull forward. So whichever direction you need to bring product, that's the direction you're going to brush, okay? All right, you guys, one more. Let's do one more for you here. And same thing, I'm going to grab that little dancing ghost out of our center there, stick that on the back edge, pinch those two little tabs together nice and even. And you guys, make sure, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, especially if you like the length of our nails at that 6'7". Make sure to hit that subscribe button. All right, we're going to get that form right up underneath that nail, rock that up, secure that down on the sides. And then again, I'm going to just snip off that free edge so that's not going to interfere with my application. All right, same thing. We're going to grab a little bit of our monomer. I'm going to press and pull, bounce, bounce, bounce. Allow that pearl to absorb the liquid, and then we're going to drain out. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to set that pearl right down in front of our nail, wipe out my brush. I'm going to press that product so it's nice and even from side to side, and use the edge of my brush to tuck in, walk that product up into the corner, tuck in, walk up into the corner, tuck in. Now I'm going to walk all the way across, pressing and kind of pulling down the length of that form just a little bit. Tuck in on the edge, walk that up into the corner, tuck in. And you guys, when I say walk that up into the corner, I mean I'm pressing. I'm not just shoving my brush up into that corner. So tuck in and then press, press, press up into the corner. Okay, let's come back across. Make sure to press out everything so it's nice and even. I'm going to start to pull that product down the length of my form, also tucking in on the sides, bringing that nail to a nice tight point, nice tapered free edge, all the way down the length that we're trying to create. Okay, again, tucking in on the sides, tucking in on the sides, bringing that all the way down to our nice stiletto shape. And again, we are going to do some filing and finishing on this. So if your shaping isn't 100% perfect at this time, that's okay. But you do want to be trying to create that little bit of that point right down to the end. Okay. All right, we're going to work up by our cuticle area now. I'm going to keep that finger angled slightly downward. We're going to pick up our pearl. We're going to press and pull, bounce, bounce, bounce. This one, I'm going to just allow it to set for about 5 seconds. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to set that right at my cuticle area, press that down. I'm going to press, press, pivot my brush on the side, press, press, pivot my brush on the side. Just kind of tucking in on those edges there, allowing my product to flow. I'm going to pivot my brush on the side and blend out the side. Same thing over here, pivot and blend. And then we're just going to blend out the edge of that pearl. I think on this one, I am going to give it just a little bit of a press right through there, pulling a little bit more of that product down the length. I don't need quite so much thickness right in that stress area, but I do want a little bit of thickness. So a little bit of thickness right through here. Okay, so blending that forward. Pick up our next pearl and again, press and pull, bounce, bounce. It's a little bit of a smaller pearl. This one we're going to drain out just a little bit of that liquid. I'm going to turn my brush around, set that down, blend back, pivot on the side, blend back, wipe out my brush to clean it out, pivot on the side, blend back, clean out my brush, and then we're going to go through and press all the way through, press and pulling that product down the length of my nail. Blend out that edge. And I think I do need just a little bit more right through here, so I'm going to just blend that product back a little bit. Just blending through, pulling that back up to my stress area, thinning and tapering out that free edge. And I think our nail is good. And again, you guys, we are going to do a little bit of filing and finishing to these nails. I'm actually going to swap these out because I want to get to the design for you guys so you guys can see that really fun design. If you do need to see how we file and finish our nails, make sure to check out the rest of our YouTube channel here. We have over 3,000 videos for you guys, free education. So check those out. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so that you can see all of those different techniques on there. But through the magic of the internet, I always love to say that, through the magic of the internet, we are just going to swap these out for some nails that I did before we started our live stream today. And I have some nails that are already filed out and ready to go for our design. So I want you guys to be able to see a lot of the different techniques today. So we're going to swap those out here real quick. Let me grab a couple of those. We'll pop those in. Again, if you do want to see how to file and finish them, make sure to check out the rest of our YouTube channel here. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and you can see exactly how we do all of that. But let's get to our design today. Have a little bit of fun and creativity. So what we're going to be doing is, somebody had asked for a candy corn design, and that's what we're going to do as our base color here. So what I'm going to be working with is our slick pour. Now slick pour is our dip system, but really what dip is it's basically colored acrylic. So the three colors that I've got here are Whitest White, and then our orange is Caution to the Wind, and our yellow is Canary Zing. So those are the colors that we're going to be working with today. All of our nails have been filed out, and I am going to just use a little bit of our swipe, pump a little bit of that onto my manicure brush, and we're going to cleanse those nails just like we did at the very beginning when we were prepping the nails. So same thing, we're going to cleanse them, go all the way through, cleanse them all the way through. And then we're going to apply another coat of our protein bond. So just like we were doing, just like the prep of the nails originally, we're going to add that same coat of protein bond to give us a little bit better adhesion. You guys, sorry, my chat stopped here, so I just wanted to make sure I'm seeing what you guys are seeing here, or seeing what you guys are saying. All right, so again, one coat of our protein bond all the way through. And this is going to help our next step adhere. Now I'm actually going to be applying our gel, our gel polish. You guys, sorry, my words are struggling today. But we're going to apply a coat of our gel polish, and then we're going to apply our acrylic powders. Okay, so when you do apply gel to an acrylic, you want to make sure that you've got that textured surface that we filed, and then also that sticky surface from our protein bond. So we're going to start with a coat of our ManiQ base. And again, ManiQ is our gel polish collection. So we're going to start with one coat of the ManiQ base, and I'm going to polish all three of these nails. So you guys, I'm going to do the same design on all three of these, but sometimes I like to do all three of the nails, or even all four of the nails for you guys, so that you can see exactly how you would do this if you were actually working on a full set, if you were actually working on a client. So sometimes it's a little bit different when I just show you one nail. So that's why for today we're gonna do the whole thing. So again, applying one coat of our ManiQ base coat all the way through from cuticle to free edge, and then we'll cure this in the light. And on this one, I'm only going to cure it for 30 seconds. Now, normally when you're working with our gels, our ManiQ gels, these do need a full 60-second cure to cure all the way through. But the way that we're applying them, I actually want it a little bit under cured. Okay, and I'm going to show you that here in just a second. So let's get our base coat on there. And I'm going to pop this into the light. And we are going to get that cured for 30 seconds. So I'll set my timer for 30 seconds. Again, the colors that I'm using are our slick pour, and these are acrylic. They are just an ultra fine acrylic powder. So we've got Canary Zing, we've got Caution to the Wind, and we've got Whitest White. And then I'm just going to set those in the row that I'm going to use them. And I've also got 2 makeup brushes. Now you guys, please don't grab your makeup brushes that you've used on yourself or on your clients or things like that. Make sure that you're using makeup brushes that are just for your nails, okay? So we're gonna grab our nails here. They are cured out just for 30 seconds. And I've got a smaller brush and then a larger brush. So I'm gonna start with my smaller brush and we're gonna start, oops, we're gonna start with our Whitest White. And I'm gonna take that brush. Now at this point, our base coat does have a tacky finish to it, okay? So it has that tacky finish. We're gonna apply our acrylic powders just into that tacky finish. Now at this point, you guys, there is, sorry, there was a little fuzz into my brush here. So our gel is not, it's not, let me see how I can say this. It's not sticky like it just came out of the bottle, but it does have a sticky residue to it. And that's what we're going to be tapping our powders into. And that sticky residue is going to hang on to that powder. So this, you guys, this is probably one of the easiest ways to do an ombre. So you can use any of our slick pour colors. They all work great for this technique. So we're going to dab on a little bit of that white. I'm just going to gently brush that off a little bit. We'll grab our orange. I'm going to clean out my brush just a little bit, tap off some of that extra. Again, we're going to tap into our powder and tap onto the nail. And this is going to start to blend together with that white. Same thing on the next nail. Tapping in, blending through, tapping in, and blending through. All right, again, I'm going to clean out my brush a little bit. Just kind of brush through that a little bit, get a little bit of that excess off of the nails. And then we'll grab our yellow. And grab a little bit of that yellow right back by our cuticle area. Same thing, grab a little bit by our cuticle area. And again, this is just going to start to blend those colors together as you're applying them. All right, now, last thing I'm going to do, this is where that little bit fluffier brush comes in. I'm going to take that fluffier brush and I'm just going to gently brush off any of that excess. Now you guys, it's looking like I may need to get a little bit closer to my cuticle areas on some of these, and that's okay. I am going to do a second coat of this, but I do want to pop these into the light for maybe just a few seconds to freeze that into place. And that's going to actually hold those powders into that tacky surface of our gel, okay? So just a few seconds just to kind of freeze that into place. And then we'll go ahead and do our second coat of our ManiQ Base Coat. Now, if you like the color combination just like it is, you can leave it with just one coat. But if you want a little bit more of a bold coverage or more full coverage, then I would definitely do a second coat, okay? Now, if you start out your nails a little bit on the thinner side, so when you're sculpting and filing, sculpt them and file a little bit thinner. And this way, when we do add a couple of coats of the ManiQ base and the powders, it is going to add just a little bit more thickness. So you want to make sure that you're not making that enhancement underneath too thick and then adding bulk to it. So do start with a little bit of a thinner application or even file them just a hair thinner when you are doing your filing and finishing, okay? So just another little helpful trick here. So again, one more coat of our base coat. And you guys, you could use the ManiQ Top. You could use whatever really base or top has a good tacky surface that you like to work with. Personally, I do like the thickness and the consistency of the base coat. I feel like this one really grabs onto those powders really well. But like I said, you could use the ManiQ Top Coat as well, okay? We're going to get that back into the light. I'm going to clean out my brush a little bit here, get a little bit of that extra color out of there. And again, that's going to go into the light for another 30-second freeze. So it's just going to freeze that into place, and then we can go on to our next coat. And same thing, we'll start with our white, and then we'll grab our yellow and orange. Let me think, did I do that in the right order? Let me look here. Yes, okay. Because I was thinking what color a candy corn actually is, and the candy corn does go from white to orange to yellow. So I have those sitting backwards. Okay. And again, you guys, you can use all of our different slick pour colors for this type of application. They're all going to work really well. So maybe if you're not into fall colors, I think somebody in the chat was saying that they don't love fall colors and Halloween designs and things like that. And that's okay. You can do this design with all of our different slick pour colors. So you can choose whatever colors you like and whatever works for you. So clean out my brush a little bit. Let's grab our orange. We're going to tap that through, blending that through. So now you can see with that second coat, that's really going to start to make that color a little bit darker, a little bit more bold, and it's going to really blend that ombre together really well. So just a quick and easy, and you guys, that's why I love this technique, because it's really quick, it's really easy, and it's fun to do. And there's really no rhyme or reason. You don't have to have a lot of precision to it. It's not something that takes a really steady hand. Now, we might do a little extra design for you guys here. That's going to take a little bit more of a steady hand. So we'll see how I do. I haven't had coffee today, so we'll see how I do with that design on there. But like I said, this design, the ombre that I'm showing you here, is super easy. It's super quick. You don't have to have a very steady hand. I'm just adding a little bit more orange and a couple of little spots on there. I'm going to dust those off again. And again, you guys, you can see everything that is sticking in that tacky surface, it's not dusting off. And I'm just dusting off the extra. So it's not going to take our design away or anything like that. Okay, we're going to pop that back into the light just really quick for maybe another 20-second freeze or so. So just really quick and easy. I'm going to close up my containers here. And then, now that we've got that sealed, basically, we are going to come back with our ManiQ base again. And we'll go ahead and seal in our design. Now, I'm going to do, depending on how I want to finish these nails, if I just want to have just the color and just the ombre without the design, I could do one coat of my base coat, and then I would actually do a second coat of our ManiQ top, or whichever other top coat you want. But I do like to seal these to give them a little bit more of a smooth finish, because with the powders that we're using, if you only put one coat of top coat over this, you may still feel a little bit of texture. So I think on our middle two, these two, I'm going to do 2 coats, and then I think on our pointer finger, I'll show you a quick little design that you can add in here. So just kind of keep in mind, however you're wanting to finish these, you may need 2 coats of the base and top, or 1 coat, and then I think I'm going to buff this one. So we'll start with 1 coat here, and I just don't want to confuse you guys here. So you guys, I think I'm running out of my base coat. I think I need another bottle here. All right. So as we are working, guys, make sure if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, join our community. We're going to get these into the light, and we're going to just freeze those for another 30 seconds. Now, we're going to do our top coat chant twice today, you guys. Those of you that know what the top coat chant is, let's start our top coat chant, but we are going to do it twice. We're not quite done here yet. But when we do our top coat, I'm going to use our Ultimate Finish Gel, and I love this one, especially with this design, because we may have a little bit of texture to the nails, and the Ultimate Finish Top Coat is a little bit of a thicker top coat, so it's going to give a little bit more, a little bit more smooth finish. I don't know if you guys can see that on camera or not. You kind of can, but do you see how there's maybe still just a little bit of texture? I'm going to top coat these 2 middle ones to do a finish nail. So if you decide that you don't want to do any other kind of design on it, I would just go ahead and top coat with the Ultimate Finish. Okay. So again, you guys, if you're new to our channel, our top coat chant is just typing in top coat, top coat, top coat into the chat. And that's going to be kind of how we end our designs and how we end our stream, but we're not done yet. I am still going to add in one other little extra for you guys today. But we're just going to finish up these two nails so that you can see exactly how to finish these two. So again, we already have a coat of that ManiQ base on there. We're going to apply a coat of our Ultimate Finish top coat. Now, Ultimate Finish does need a 60-second cure in the light, okay? So pop that into the light, cure that for 60 seconds, and we're not done yet, you guys. Again, we're not done yet. We've still got a little bit of extra something here to go. So I'm going to do a quick little spider web design for you guys to see, just another quick and easy thing that you can add into your nails this Halloween. And I'm going to be using our nail striping or our striping gel paint. And when you see this, you guys, this is, so I'm going to just kind of open up the bottle, run that top around there a little bit just to get any excess gel polish off of there. And I'm going to wipe off that brush. So you can see that is a teeny tiny little skinny little brush. And this is going to be great for those spider web designs or lines and things like that. So it's a great product to have as part of your arsenal. So make sure to check that out. And I think our nail is just about cured out. Now, what I'm going to do on our first nail, so we've already top coated the second two. Okay, so we've already top coated these. Those are going to be nice and smooth and nice and finished. On this nail, I only have one coat of that base coat on there. This one I am going to cleanse because it does have that tacky surface to it. So I'm going to grab my ManiQ Cleanser and I'm going to pump a little bit of that onto a nail wipe and I'm going to cleanse off that tacky surface. So this way we're going to have a surface that we can do our design on. Now, if that surface is fairly smooth, if you had enough of your base coat on there and it's nice and smooth, you can just go right into your design. But what I actually like to do to really make sure that I've got a nice smooth surface is I'm going to grab my 180 sponge buffer and I'm just going to lightly go through this and just gently kind of give it a little bit of a smooth over, just so when I do my lines, my really skinny thin lines, I'm going to get those really nice crisp lines. So just having that little bit of a smoother surface is going to help me with that. Okay, catch underneath there, make sure everything is nice and smooth all the way around. And then I'm going to dust this nail off one more time and grab either my swipe or my ManiQ Cleanser, a little bit of that onto my brush, cleanse that one more time, making sure that is oil-free, dust-free, everything free. And then one more coat of Protein Bond. You guys, Protein Bond is an amazing product. It works great for helping to adhere so many different products, top coats, base coats, acrylics, gels, all kinds of different things. So it's a great product to have on hand. Okay, now on our last nail here, you guys, we've got a little cobweb here coming from the point back. I'm going to show you a second option. On this one, we're going to start from the corner and work down. Now, I'm going to grab one other thing here. I like to always have my art palette with me so that in case I need to use that to clean out a brush or anything, I've got that handy. And another thing that I'm going to grab is my micro detailer. Now this brush, it's teeny tiny, you guys. My brush it's got a little bend in the bristles there. That's just how I use it because I work with it like this. Now it doesn't come like that, but just from my wear and tear on it, it does have a little bit of a bend in it. So I've got my micro detailer brush. We've got our black striping gel paint, and you guys, this one is called Umbrella. And I'm going to open that up. Again, tap out some of that extra off of the stem of the brush. And then I'm going to wipe out that skinny little brush. And then let's go ahead and, actually guys, I think I'm going to put a little bit of that right onto my tile. Sometimes I like to work with it right off the tile. And just kind of dragging that brush through. And this is actually a good way to tell how thick or thin your lines are going to be. So just so I can have a little bit better idea. Okay, I think I like that. So I'm going to start with my brush, maybe just a little bit thinner, right at that top corner. I'm going to touch that down. And now you guys, I'm really just going to use more of the point of the brush. I know this is a long, skinny brush, and a lot of times what we feel like doing is laying that whole brush down onto the nail, but I'm actually going to use just more of that point of the brush, okay? So personal preference, this is just what's been working for me. And we're going to set that right down, touch that down, and just pull all the way down and then release. Okay, I'm going to grab a little bit more of that gel paint. I'm going to do another little line here, touch down, pull, and release. And let's see, maybe one over on this side. All right, you guys, I think maybe one more. Maybe one more just for the heck of it, just to kind of fill in that space. Okay, I think I'm liking that. Now, at this point, you have an option. If you feel completely comfortable and you think you're going to be able to draw in all of your little webbing in between there without smudging anything, you could just go right into that. But I know me, and sometimes I don't have the best balance. Sometimes I smudge things. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab our Touch Cure Light. I'm going to turn that on, and I'm going to freeze this into place. So this is a little mini curing light. I don't use this one for curing the nails completely, but I like to use this one when I'm working on art and designs, because this way I can freeze that, that first coat into place. And that way when I go to do my next step, my next part of my design, I'm not going to smudge up this first part. Okay, so just a quick, easy little trick to help you guys. Now, this is where I am going to grab that micro detailer brush, and I'm going to grab a little bit of that paint in the brush here. All right, you guys, I'm going to show you something on this nail here. On this one, I would work from this angle here, and I can draw in those little webbing designs. On this one, sorry, on our first one here, I'm actually going to turn this one around and work from this direction. And you guys, this is definitely something you can also do on your clients. So if you're working on your client, just have them turn their hands around from this direction, and you can work in both directions. So whichever is easier for you. So I'm going to take just a tiny little bit of that gel paint onto my micro detailer. Let me come in nice and close here for you guys. And I'm just going to do, ooh, starting to get the shaky shakes. A little loop, a loop, and a loop. Grab a little bit more, come back, and we're going to do the same thing. So I just barely using the point of that brush, again, touching it down, make your loop, make your loop, make your loop. A little bit more paint on my brush. Again, touch the point down, loop, loop, and loop. All right, I think maybe sometimes when I do my my little cobwebs here, I don't always do the same amount of loops on each one. So on this one, I'm gonna drag out that line just a little bit longer through here. There we go. Okay, I think I like that. I think I like with that little bit of an uneven loop. So I think we're good there. Let's go ahead and set this one into place. Now at this point, I could either use that Touch Cure Light and freeze that into place, or if I'm working on a full set, then I could actually put that hand back into the light and be working on the other hand. So whichever way is going to work better for you, you can definitely do that. But we'll go ahead and just freeze this one into place here. I would say maybe for 10 to 20 seconds or so. But at this time, now you guys, now we're really going to do our top coat chant. Now we're really going to finish up these nails and give you the final look. So if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button, join our community, and then let's all type in top coat, top coat, top coat into the chat and do our top coat chant. And I will finish up this nail. Going back to our ultimate finish top coat, we're going to polish on a nice even coat of our ultimate finish, And like I was saying earlier, normally this is going to cure for a full 60 seconds. But you guys, for today's demo, I'm just going to probably pop that into the light for, I don't know, 20 or so, just so you guys can see the final look. And that way you don't have to wait for that full cure. But do remember, if you are top coating with any of our gel top coats, that they do need a full 60 seconds in the light to fully cure, okay? And again, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And let's take a look at our candy corn ombre nails with our little spooky spider webs. You guys, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you had fun with our design here. I hope you guys are doing lots of fun nails for Halloween. And make sure to join us back next week. We're usually here on YouTube on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. We usually go live on TikTok on Tuesdays and Fridays. We have a live stream on Discord usually on Fridays. We are now on Whatnot. I think we have another show on Whatnot on the 15th. One other thing, you guys, I forgot to mention. We do have an acrylic class coming up online. It's a Zoom class. Anybody can join the class, but you do need to register for that. And that is going to be on October 20th. So that's coming up very soon. So check out on our website, youngnails.com, for information on our online class. And you guys have lots of fun with us. I thank you so much for being here with us today. I hope you enjoyed our demo.